Hello and welcome to Turning On to Preservation. I'm going to do just a few articles today. I'm going to make it really quick and brief for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. This is some local news, not for Atlanta, but for Georgia. In Brunswick, Georgia. Now, if you guys don't know where Brunswick is, which I didn't when I first started and heard this article, it's located south of Savannah, north of Jacksonville, Florida. It's wedged between Jekyll Island and St. Simon's Island. So, in Brunswick, Georgia, there is the historic Dart House, and it's been in the news since February, back when the Chamber of Commerce decided to consider that it should be demolished and replaced with an office building. And it's kind of sad because the Chamber of Commerce was actually the stewards of this very building for over 30 years. It was their headquarters, and now they're switching sides, deciding that they no longer want to keep it. And if you didn't know, the city itself is very historic. It dates back to 1738. It was proclaimed by George Washington to be one of the 5 original plots of entry for the colonies. That's big business right there. And the coolest thing ever is that the town was laid out like a grid following the famous Oglethorpe Savannah Plan. So back to the building, it's a community treasure. It's over 137 years old. It was built back in 1877 by, one of the city founders, Robert Dart. It survived 2 hurricanes, one in 1893 and one in 1898. Oh, you see that one actually flooded the city. And it overlooks a famous oak tree where Sidney Lanier penned his world-famous poem, Marshes of Glynn. So beyond withstanding the test of time, to show how much loved and appreciated it is by the community, back in 1983, they banded together, raised money, and restored it back to its Victorian former glory. So I really hope that for them, since they want to preserve the historic character of Brunswick, that it gets to stay permanently. But feel free to give your support. I have a link to the website that talks about the article, and there you can send a letter to the Chamber of Commerce yourselves. And also feel free to check out their Facebook page and like them, and follow in the news to see what happens. So, The Architect magazine, for our viewing pleasure, has given us some behind-the-scenes pictures of the restoration that's going on at the Union Station in Washington, D.C. Now, if you don't know, the Union Station is a really world-famous station. It was built back in 1907 by Daniel Burnham. It's 600 feet long. It has 96-foot ceiling. It is done in the Beaux-Arts style, but what's really great, it has these really beautiful classical elements, such as the barrel vaulted ceiling and the archways for the entry, and it's very grand. It's made out of gold leaf and granite and marble pieces, so it's a very landmark building. If you're ever in Washington, D.C., you should definitely check it out. So there was an earthquake, and it's had a lot of damage from that. But the article says that every 25 to 35 years, buildings like these need some, scheduled maintenance. So it was due for some TLC. So good for them. These are great pictures. Check out my article that I have, that you can see some more that I don't have in this blog. Now it's time for I Bet You Didn't Know. I bet you didn't know that the first public parks in America were actually cemeteries. Who would have thunk it? Well, they are. And it actually started with the 1831 building of the Mount Auburn Cemetery in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So what had happened is that the city had become overly crowded, and there wasn't enough room for to bury the dead in those little local cemeteries. So therefore they ended up building the Auburn Cemetery right outside of the city jurisdiction in what would be the rural parts of the city, which now it's no longer rural, it's definitely built up. But they did in this picturesque cemetery with its curvilinear paths, it's beautiful. It became a retreat, a sort of a day excursion for the city folks who wanted to get away from the pollution of the city and wanted some fresh air. They would go to the Mount Auburn Cemetery, have a picnic in the park, or they would, have a stroll or a carriage ride. So it was really a great escape for them. And as you can see by these pictures, it was not only beautiful, but it also helped spark the American Parks and Garden movement, and more cemeteries were built just like this after Mount Auburn. So that has been all for Turning On to Preservation. Once again, thank you for checking out my video. Don't forget to like it, like my Facebook page, Turning On to Preservation, and my website, turningontopreservation.com, or follow me on Twitter at turning you as in the letter on to as in the number pres. That's turning you on to pres, where I'll have stuff not featured there, such as today, this day in history I love to do. Well, that's all, guys, and you have a great day.